Our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Deuteronomy chapter 29. These are the words of the covenant that our Father in heaven commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in the land of Moab, in addition to the covenant that he had made with them at Horeb. Moses summoned all Israel and said to them, "You have seen all that our Father in heaven did before your eyes in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his land. The great trials that your eyes saw, the signs, and those great wonders. But to this day, our Father in heaven has not given you a mind to understand, or eyes to see, or ears to hear. I have led you 40 years in the wilderness. The clothes on your back have not worn out, and the sandals on your feet have not worn out. You have not eaten bread, and you have not drunk wine or strong drink, so that you may know that I am your Father in heaven. When you came to this place, King Sihon of Heshbon and King Og of Bashan came out against us for battle, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh. Therefore, diligently observe the words of this covenant in order that you may succeed in everything you do. You stand assembled today, all of you, before our Father in heaven, your God, the leaders of your tribes, your elders, and your officials, all the men of Israel, your children, your women, and the aliens who are in your camp, both those who cut your wood and those who draw your water, to enter into the covenant of our Father in heaven, your God, sworn by an oath which our Father in heaven, your God, is making with you today, in order that he may establish you today as his people, and that he may be your God, as he promised you and as he swore to your ancestors, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I am making this covenant, sworn by an oath, not only with you who stand here with us today before our Father in heaven, but also with those who are not here with us today. You know how we lived in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the midst of the nations through which you passed. You have seen their detestable things and the filthy idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold that were among them. It may be that there is among you a man or woman, or a family or tribe, whose heart is already turning away from our Father in heaven, our God, to serve the gods of those nations. It may be that there is among you a root sprouting poisonous and bitter growth. All who hear the words of this oath and bless themselves, thinking in their hearts, we are safe, even though we go on our stubborn ways, thus bringing disaster on moist and dry alike, our Father in heaven will be unwilling to pardon them. For our Father in heaven's anger and passion will smoke against them. All the curses written in this book will descend on them, and our Father in heaven will blot out their names from under heaven. Our Father in heaven will single them out from all the tribes of Israel for calamity, in accordance with all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. The next generation, your children who rise up after you, as well as the foreigner who comes from a distant country, will see the devastation of the land and the afflictions with which our Father has afflicted it. All its soil burned out by sulfur and salt, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, unable to support any vegetation, like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which our Father in heaven destroyed in his fierce anger. They, and indeed all the nations, will wonder, why has our Father in heaven done thus to the land? What caused this great display of anger? They will conclude, it is because they abandoned the covenant of our Father in heaven, the God of their ancestors, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. They turned and served other gods, worshiping them, gods whom they had not known and whom he had not allotted to them. So the anger of our Father in heaven was kindled against that land, bringing on it every curse written in this book. Our Father in heaven uprooted them from their land in anger, fury, and great wrath. and cast them into another land, as is now the case. The secret things belong to our Father in heaven, our God, but the revealed things belong to us and to our children forever, to observe all the words of this law. Chapter 30. When all these things have happened to you, the blessings and the cursings that I have set before you, if you call them to mind among all the nations where our Father in heaven your God has given you, and return to our Father your God, and you and your children obey him with all your heart and with all your soul, just as I am commanding you today, then our Father your God will restore your fortunes and have compassion on you, gathering you again from all the peoples among whom our Father your God has scattered you. Even if you are exiled to the ends of the world, from there our Father your God will gather you, and from there he will bring you back. Our Father your God will bring you into the land that your ancestors possessed, and you will possess it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your ancestors. Moreover, our Father your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants, so that you will love our Father your God with all your heart and with all your soul, in order that you may live. Our Father in heaven, your God, will put all these curses on your enemies and on the adversaries who took advantage of you. Then you shall again obey our Father in heaven, observing all his commandments that I am commanding you today. And our Father your God will make you abundantly prosperous in all your undertakings, in the fruit of your body, in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your soil. For our Father will again take delight in prospering you, just as he delighted in prospering your ancestors, when you obey our Father in heaven, your God, by observing his commandments and decrees that are written in this book of the law, because you turn to our Father your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Surely, this commandment that I am commanding you today is not too hard for you, nor is it too far away. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up to heaven for us, and get it for us so that we may hear it and observe it? Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross over to the other side of the sea for us, and get it for us so that we may hear it and observe it? No, the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart for you to observe. See, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. If you obey the commandments of our Father in heaven your God that I am commanding you today, by loving our Father your God, walking in his ways, and observing his commandments, decrees, and ordinances, then you shall live and become numerous, and our Father your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away, and you do not hear, but are led astray to bow down to other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall perish. You shall not live long in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to enter and possess. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live, loving our Father in heaven your God, obeying him, and holding fast to him. For that means life to you and length of days, so that you may live in the land that our father swore to give to your ancestors, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. Chapter 31. When Moses had finished speaking all these words to Israel, he said to them, I am now 120 years old. I am no longer able to get about, and our Father has told me, you shall not cross over this Jordan. Our Father in heaven, your God himself, will cross over before you. He will destroy these nations before you, and you shall dispossess them. Joshua also will cross over before you, as our Father in heaven promised. Our Father will do to them as he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorites, and to their land when he destroyed them. Our Father will give them over to you, and you shall deal with them in full accord with the command that I have given to you. Be strong and bold. Have no fear or dread of them, because it is our Father in heaven, your God, who goes with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Then Moses summoned Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, be strong and bold, for you are the one who will go with this people into the land that our father has sworn to their ancestors to give them, and you will put them in possession of it. It is our Father in heaven who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not fail you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. Then Moses wrote down this law and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who carried the ark of the covenant of our Father in heaven, and to all the elders of Israel. Moses commanded them, every 7th year, in the scheduled year of remission, during the festival of booths, when all Israel comes to appear before our Father in heaven your God at the place that he will choose, you shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, as well as the aliens residing in your towns, so that they may hear and learn to fear our Father your God, and to observe diligently all the words of this law, and so that your children who have not known it may hear and learn to fear our Father in heaven your God, as long as you live in the land that you are crossing over the Jordan to possess. Our Father in heaven said to Moses, your time to die is near. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tent of meeting, so that I may commission him. So Moses and Joshua went and presented themselves in the tent of meeting, and our Father in heaven appeared at the tent in a pillar of cloud. The pillar of cloud stood at the entrance to the tent. Our Father in heaven said to Moses, soon you will lie down with your ancestors. Then this people will begin to prostitute themselves to the foreign gods in their midst, the gods of the land into which they are going. They will forsake me, breaking my covenant that I have made with them. My anger will be kindled against them in that day. I will forsake them and hide my face from them. They will become easy prey, and many terrible troubles will come upon them. In that day they will say, have not these troubles come upon us because our God is not in our midst? On that day I will surely hide my face on account of all the evil they have done by turning to other gods. Now therefore, write this song and teach it to the Israelites. Put it in their mouths, in order that this song may be a witness for me against the Israelites. For when I have brought them into the land flowing with milk and honey, which I promised on oath to their ancestors, and they have eaten their fill and grown fat, they will turn to other gods and serve them, despising me and breaking my covenant. And when many terrible troubles come upon them, this song will confront them. This song will confront them as a witness, because it will not be lost from the mouths of their descendants. For I know that they are inclined to do even now, before I have brought them into the land that I promised them on oath. That very day, Moses wrote this song and taught it to the Israelites. Then our Father in heaven commissioned Joshua, son of Nun, and said, be strong and bold, for you shall bring the Israelites into the land that I promised them. I will be with you. When Moses had finished writing down in a book the words of this law to the very end, Moses commanded the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of our Father in heaven, saying, take this book of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of our Father in heaven, your God. Let it remain there as a witness against you. For I know well how rebellious and stubborn you are. If you already have been so rebellious toward our Father while I am still alive among you, how much more after my death? Assemble to me all the elders of your tribes and your officials, so that I may recite these words in their hearing and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death you will surely act corruptly, turning aside from the way that I have commanded you. In time to come, trouble will befall you, because you will do what is evil in the sight of our Father in heaven, provoking him to anger through the work of your hands. Then Moses recited the words of this song to the very end, in the hearing of the whole assembly of Israel. Chapter 32. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak. Let the earth hear the words of my mouth. May my teaching drop like the rain, my speech condense like the dew, like gentle rain on grass, like showers on new growth. For I will proclaim the name of our Father in heaven. Ascribe greatness to our God. The rock, his work is perfect, and all his ways are just. A faithful God, without deceit, just and upright is he. Yet his degenerate children have dealt falsely with him, a perverse and crooked generation. Do you thus repay our Father in heaven, O foolish and senseless people? Is he not your Father, who created you, who made you, and established you? Remember the days of old, consider the years long past. Ask your Father, and he will inform you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High apportioned the nations, when he divided humankind, he fixed the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the gods. Our Father in heaven's own portion was his people, Jacob his allotted share. He sustained him in a desert land, in a howling wilderness waste. He shielded him, cared for him, guarded him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up its nest and hovers over its young, as it spread its wings, takes them up, and bears them aloft on its pinions. Our Father in heaven alone guided him. No foreign God was with him. He set him atop the heights of the land, and fed him with produce of the field. He nursed him with honey from the crags, with oil from flinty rock, curds from the herd, and milk from the flock, with fat of lambs and rams, Bashan bulls and goats, together with the choicest wheat. You drank fine wine from the blood of grapes. Jacob ate his fill. Jeshurun grew fat and kicked. You grew fat, bloated, and gorged. He abandoned God who made him and scoffed at the rock of his salvation. They made him jealous with strange gods. With abhorrent things they provoked him. They sacrificed to demons, not God, to deities that they had never known, to new ones recently arrived, whom your ancestors had not feared. You were unmindful of the rock that bore you. You forgot the God who gave you birth. Our Father in heaven saw it and was jealous. He spurned his sons and daughters. He said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end will be. For they are a perverse generation, children in whom there is no faithfulness. They made me jealous with what is no God, provoked me with their idols. So I will make them jealous with what is no people, provoke them with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled by my anger and burns to the depths of Sheol. It devours the earth and its increase, and sets on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will heap disasters upon them, spend my arrows against them, wasting hunger, burning consumption, bitter pestilence. The teeth of beasts I will send against them, with venom of things crawling in the dust. In the street the word shall bereave, and in the chambers terror, for young man and woman alike, nursing child and old gray head. I thought to scatter them and blot out the memory of them from humankind. But I feared provocation by the enemy, for their adversaries might misunderstand and say, our hand is triumphant. It was not our Father in heaven who did all this. They are a nation void of sense. There is no understanding in them. If they were wise, they would understand this. They would discern what the end would be. How could one have routed 1,000 and two put a myriad to flight, unless their rock had sold them, and our Father in heaven had given them up? Indeed, their rock is not like our rock. Our enemies are fools. Their vine comes from the vine stock of Sodom, from the vineyards of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of poison. Their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of serpents, the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, sealed up in my treasuries? Vengeance is mine, and recompense, for the time when their foot shall slip, because the day of their calamity is at hand. Their doom comes swiftly. Indeed, our Father in heaven will vindicate his people, have compassion on his servants, when he sees that their power is gone, neither bond nor free remaining. Then he will say, where are their gods, the rock in which they took refuge? who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their libations. Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. See now that I, even I, am He. There is no God besides me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal, and no one can deliver from my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and swear, as I live forever, when I whet my flashing sword and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance on my adversaries and will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, with the blood of the slain and the captives from the long haired enemy. Praise, O heavens, his people, worship him, all you gods, for he will avenge the blood of his children and take vengeance on his adversaries. He will repay those who hate him and cleanse the land for his people. Moses came and recited all the words of this song in the hearing of the people, he and Joshua, son of Nun. When Moses had finished reciting all these words to all Israel, he said to them, take to heart all the words that I am giving in witness against you today. Give them as a command to your children, so that they may diligently observe all the words of this law. This is no trifling matter for you, but rather your very life. Through it you may live long in the land that you are crossing over the Jordan to possess. On that very day our Father in heaven addressed Moses as follows: ascend this mountain of the Abarim, Mount Nebo, which is in the land of Moab, across from Jericho, and view the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites for a possession. You shall die there on the mountain that you ascend, and shall be gathered to your kin, as your brother Aaron died on Mount Hor and was gathered to his kin, because both of you broke faith with me among the Israelites at the water of Meribah Kadesh in the wilderness of Zin, by failing to maintain my holiness among the Israelites. Although you may view the land from a distance, you shall not enter it, the land that I am giving to the Israelites. Chapter 33. This is the blessing with which Moses, the man of God, blessed the Israelites before his death. He said, our Father in heaven came from Sinai and dawned in Seir upon us. He shone forth from Mount Paran. With him were myriads of holy ones, at his right a host of his own. Indeed, our favorite among peoples, all his holy ones were in your charge. They marched at your heels, accepted direction from you. Moses charged us with the law as a possession for the assembly of Jacob. There arose a king in Jeshurun when the leaders of the people assembled, the united tribes of Israel. May Reuben live and not die out, even though his numbers are few. And this he said of Judah, O Father, give heed to Judah, and bring him to his people, strengthen his hand, and help and be a help against his adversaries. And of Levi he said, give to Levi your Thummim and your Urim, to your loyal one, whom you tested at Massa, with whom you contended at the waters of Meribah, who said of his father and mother, I regard them not. He ignored his kin and did not acknowledge his children, for they observed your word and kept your covenant. They teach Jacob your ordinances and Israel your law. They place incense before you and hold burnt offerings on your altar. Bless, O Father, his substance, and accept the work of his hands. Crush the loins of his adversaries, of those that hate him, so that they do not rise again. Of Benjamin he said, the beloved of our Father in heaven rests in safety. The high God surrounds him all day long. The beloved rests between his shoulders. And of Joseph he said, blessed by our Father in heaven be his land, with the choice gifts of heaven above, and of the deep that lies beneath, with the choice fruits of the sun and the rich yield of the months, with the finest produce of the ancient mountains and the abundance of the everlasting hills, with the choice gifts of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of the one who dwells on Sinai. Let these come on the head of Joseph, on the brow of the prince among his brothers. A firstborn bull, majesty is his. His horns are the horns of a wild ox. With them he gores the peoples, driving them to the ends of the earth. Such are the myriads of Ephraim, such the thousands of Manasseh. And of Zebulun he said, Rejoice, Zebulun, in your going out, and Issachar in your tents. They call peoples to the mountain. There they offer the right sacrifices, for they suck the affluence of the seas and the hidden treasures of the sand. And of God he said, Blessed be the enlargement of God. God lives like a lion. He tears at arm and scalp. He chose the best for himself, for there a commander's allotment was reserved. He came at the head of the people. He executed the justice of our Father in heaven and his ordinances for Israel. And of Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp that leaps forth from Bashan. And of Naphtali he said, O Naphtali, sated with favor, full of the blessing of our Father in heaven, possess the west and the south. And of Asher he said, Most blessed of sons be Asher. May he be the favorite of his brothers, and may he dip his foot in oil. Your bars are iron and bronze, and as your days, so is your strength. There is none like God, O Jeshurun, who rides through the heavens to your help, majestic through the skies. He subdues the ancient gods, shatters the forces of Od. He drove out the enemy before you and said, Destroy. So Israel lives in safety, untroubled in Jacob's abode, in a land of grain and wine, where the heavens drop down dew. Happy are you, O Israel. Who is like you, a people saved by our Father in heaven, the shield of your help and the sword of your triumph? Your enemies shall come fawning to you, and you shall tread on their backs. Chapter 34. Then Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, which is opposite of Jericho, and our Father in heaven showed him the whole land, Gilead as far as Dan, all Naphtali, the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, all the land of Judah as far as the western sea, the Negeb, and the plain, that is, the valley of Jericho, the city of palm trees, as far as Zoar. Our Father in heaven said to him, This is the land of which I swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there. Then Moses, the servant of our Father in heaven, died there in the land of Moab at our Father in heaven's command. He was buried in a valley in the land of Moab, opposite Beth Peor, but no one knows his burial place to this day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His sight was unimpaired, and his vigor had not abated. The Israelites wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. Then the period of mourning for Moses was ended. Joshua, son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, because Moses had laid his hands on him. And the Israelites obeyed him, doing as our Father in heaven had commanded Moses. Never since has there arisen a prophet in Israel like Moses, whom our Father in heaven knew face to face. He was unequaled for all the signs and wonders that our Father in heaven sent him to perform in the land of Egypt, against Pharaoh and all his servants and his entire land, and for all the mighty deeds and all the terrifying displays of power that Moses performed in the sight of all Israel. Father willing, we will continue with Joshua chapter 1. May our Father, Messiah, and the Holy Spirit be with us. Repent, the kingdom of heaven is near. Peace.